Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today I have the opportunity to work on, well, one of the nicest reels Penn's ever made. This is the Penn Mag Power 970. It's kind of a cross between a Penn Squitter 145 and a Jigmaster. And, well, the Mag 10, I guess you can put that one in there as well. Narrow frame, nice gold-plated inner trim rings, ball bearings on each side, so make that the Jigmaster 505. And, well, just a beautiful capacity saltwater reel that is in for some service. This one comes all the way from Alaska to New Jersey, so better take care of this one and make sure that it is done right, done all around. Well, if you like these types of videos, I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel. And if you do subscribe to my channel, please use that notification button. It'll let you know when I'm posting fishing reel service and repair videos, as well as other things that come up from time to time. We're going to start by removing the exterior pieces, and when I do that I like to clean them as well. These have a little bit of greening on them, so I'm using a 4.0 or 4.0 for those that like it that way, steel wool, and well, it's got a little bit of metal polish on it, just enough to be a light abrasive to get that film and the corrosion off the piece. When I take my pieces and parts off, I like to put them into a parts tray. I recommend that you have a system to deal with the parts that you remove. Doesn't have to be the same one that I use. I use Organized Chaos, but make sure that you know where your pieces and parts are so that when it comes time to reinstall, well, you know where to go get them. Well, we took off the handle and the handle nut, or screw, I guess it's a screw. Now we're going to remove the star adjuster. That has the same little bit of film on it, so let's take that off as well. And this reel is a beauty. It came into me from Alaska along with two Shimano lever drag reels, and I've just had the opportunity to work on this one, and I thought I'd make a video of it. We have a little washer ring behind there, and then we have the gear sleeve spacer. That may or may not come off. That's okay. When you remove the side plate, it will. There's 4 side plate screws. We're going to take those off next. And when you go removing these screws, if you find any difficulty at all, make sure that you stop and maybe spray it down with some penetrating oil or the like. That'll help keep it, help to get rid of some of the salts or whatever that may be backing that up. And it'll go a long way to saving you from breaking those screws off and possibly injuring the reel. All right. It's hard to see if those 2 top screws are shields or if they are something else, so let's see if we can remove the reel right now. I think I have them all off. I'm just going to use a little blade of a razor knife to bring this in now. Okay, well, it's not cooperating, so I'm going to put the handle on, put the handle screw back on, and I'll use that handle to lever it. There you go. Okay, with the side plate removed, we can remove the spool. Spool's nice and clean. Inside's clean as well. I did hear a little bit of noise going on there. I'm going to guess it's just a bearing. So let's go ahead and make sure we oil that side plate bearing. And we'll let it set. We'll flood that. And, well, we can put a little bit of grease onto the side spool here. Leave that off for a moment. Let's clean up the inner part of the reel where we have it apart. It's in pretty nice condition, but there's some dirt and debris in here. And I don't think you need the steel wool. We're going to use a little scrubby pad and some Penn rod and reel cleaner just to buff that up a little bit and restore its shine. That rod and reel cleaner from Penn is very effective. We can just use it all around here. You know, in the middle parts, you won't have the opportunity to get in here after we close it up again, so we might as well do it now. Okay, Now you can just reinstall that spool, let that sit over there, and let that oil do its work. Here's our basic configuration then. It kind of looks like every other Penn reel that's out there. It's got a bridge, a jack, big gear here, and a couple of screws holding that in. So let's take care of that next. I'm going to remove the handle that we used for leverage. Those go into your parts tray. And we have 4 bridge screws that are holding that on, so let's go ahead and use that. When you remove these screws, make sure that you're using a screwdriver that matches the slot in the screws. A lot of folks want to kind of use whatever they have in their hands. Sometimes the blade is undersized and the screw is lodged in tight, and the next thing you know, we have an issue with the stripped slots or butterfied slots. So do yourself a favor, match your screwdriver to your slots, and that won't occur. Alright, let's push this through now. We should be able to push that through. And I hold it this way because, well, there's a spring involved here, and you want to make sure that you don't lose the dog spring. A couple of springs here. So we'll just take these out, lay these on the table, and talk to you about them. We have a small spring and a dog that's going to lodge in the cavity. We'll show you that when it's time to reinstall. We have 2 yoke springs. I'll show you those in a moment. We have 4 bridge screws. 2 of these bridge screws have partial threads. They're going to go through those springs that I just showed you. And 2 of those are fully threaded. They're going to go on the bottom of the bridge. Also have our yoke and our pinion gear and our jack. While we're doing this, you can clean these up. Make sure that they are free of any old greases and oils. A lot of what you do in reel repair is inspect. So let's inspect the teeth on these. These are clean, and they're also free of debris, and they're not marred. Here's that spacer we were talking about from the outside. So you couldn't have pulled that spacer through because that also serves as a the last washer in the gear stack. And then we have the main gear. Sometimes they'll all come out together. Sometimes, well, 1 or 2 of them will get stuck. Main gear and washers. These look like some kind of a composite washer, so we'll be able to use a grease on these. They appear to be porous. They may be leather. And I'm just walking these out one by one because they're a little bit tight. Now this one should come off. Sometimes these main gears are just a little bit tougher. I'm noticing that there's a little bit of debris on here, so I'm going to come back. First thing I'm going to do is use a little brush here, clean out the tracks, see if we can't get it that way, and continue to pull. There we go. Pull it up and out. I was getting trapped by, I guess, some fragments maybe of the old washers. There is a pin here. We want to move the gear sleeve. You can generally push that pin through. Sometimes you may need to tap it a little bit. It's not cooperating fully. This one's not cooperating fully, so I'm probably going to be off camera on this because this is kind of unsteady to do it this way. I'll give it a try first. Oh, I got lucky. Okay, you want to tap that pin through, and you can remove this. And you want to remove it because you want to clean up any old stuff that's in there that will slow the performance of the reel. I like to just put that pin right back in there, get it started. And that pin is going to ride in this slot right here. It's going to hold that gear sleeve on. With the pin removed, we'll use a little bit of penetrating oil as a solvent. Wipe down the old grease, clean it off with the paper towel. And do the same with the bridge. Make sure that it's nice and clean. If you need to, use some steel wool to kind of buff that out. In this case, it's very clean. That's tarnish that you're seeing there, and well, you can't do anything with tarnish. A light coating of grease goes back on. Then we can take the gear sleeve, put that back on. Take my little dead blow hammer then, Tap that in, and when you tap that in, make sure that that pin clears the ridge on the gear sleeve. Otherwise, it just won't fit properly. All right, we need a little bit of buffing inside here. There's some leftover pieces of that old washer. Do the same thing here. Inspect the teeth. If the teeth are clogged, go ahead and get a bristle brush, maybe something like a toothbrush. This is one of those dollar store varieties, or actually I think this is a Home Depot or a Lowe's, kind of a 3-pack. But you usually can find them with brass, steel, and hard bristle brushes as a combination pack. Go ahead and use those to clean out the channels. Okay, I use an artist brush for my grease, and I'm using Penn Precision Reel Grease as the grease. Not because it's a Penn reel, but because it's a fishing reel, and I only recommend that you use fishing reel greases on the reels that you service. Don't use your general household greases. Don't use axle greases from cars. Go ahead and get a small container of the fishing reel grease. Step is to install the main gear. And now I'm going to use Cal's Universal Grease. We have porous washers here, so I'm going to dip them into it. I'm going to rub them around. Make sure that I fill those pores. Use my gloved hand as a tool. And also keeps the grease off of that. If you've got too much on there, what's too much? You don't want globs. But if you have globs of grease there, then wipe off the excess. You'll only squeeze it out. The one with the rectangular center is called a keyed washer. There's 2 of those. One goes high, one goes low. I'll do that 2 more times. The middle washer is the one with the circular inside and 2 points. That's called an eared washer. We'll do one more time here. You want to get the greases into the pores. That's going to keep the drag washer flexible. It has nothing to do with the sliding of that washer or anything like that. I've heard a lot of speculation about that. No, it's just to keep it from cracking, drying and cracking. This is your big collar that goes on that. That bridge is done. We want to clean out the rest of the cavity of this then. There's some old greases hanging here. And we have a ball bearing on this side, so we're going to oil that ball bearing just like we did the one on the other side of the case. I also like to put a little bit of oil onto the eccentric, a little bit of grease right onto the face. So we're pretty much ready for the reinstallation of this now. I think in order to swing this bridge down, we may need to move that a little bit. I'm going to take the yoke, put a little bit of grease on the shoulders of the yoke on both sides, then the pinion gear. We've already checked and inspected that. I want to get grease onto the teeth of that. And we have those 2 springs I called out earlier. These are the yoke springs. They go in the cavities on both sides of the side plate. And we can seat the yoke with the gear. The slotted side of the gear faces towards you. And then we just slip over the jack like that. That's the completion of that pattern. Okay. Next up then is our bridge. We want to take our bridge. We've already greased the main gear. Push down on your yoke, insert it, and turn it. That's approximately 90 degrees from where it belongs. You want to take one of the fully threaded screws and place that inside the hole that's still exposed. Our anti-reverse dog goes next. And now you have a cavity where that spring, the coil spring, is going to go so that you can hold that anti-reverse dog and keep it functioning. I like to just grab it with my fingers, put it in one side, kind of wiggle it, holding tension on it because it will shoot if you don't get it into the cavity. and that's how it looks when it's properly installed. Once that's done, continue to rotate your bridge plate until you align the screw with the hole, and you have that pinion gear going through the center hole. Tighten it down 1 or 2 tightens, just turns. You don't want to tighten it down all the way, not yet. Take one of the partially threaded screws, those go up top because they're going through those springs that we put in that cavity. And you take a fully threaded screw, put that below. What we're doing here is balancing the tension on that bridge plate so that it goes on nice and evenly and doesn't bind. So we got one more. And once you get them all in, you can tighten this one, go back and kind of do an X pattern to tighten all 4 of them down. And when you do that, go ahead and test the reel. Make sure that it turns nice and free and easily, which is what this reel is doing. Well, with that, we can go ahead and put this one back on the frame. Put a little bit of grease onto the shaft. That's going to help with the inner side of the pinion gear. And then we need to line this up with those little holes. And a little bit of hand pressure should close the gaps. Make sure you have a nice tight seam. And then we have the screws that we can tighten up now. And again, just like we did on the bridge, don't go circular, go across. Kind of continue that X pattern. You got 4 screws here. So get this one nice and tight. Now don't worry about partially tightening these because we have those pins holding it in and it's sealed to the inner ring. Come back to that side, come over here to this side. That's our 4 screws. At this point I'm going to take that rod and reel cleaner. We'll do the outside of this. And we had our big washer that went in there. On your star adjuster, you're going to find one of the sides has the part number in it. This says 10970. That faces the inner part of the reel. The other side of that reel has rounded edges, or adjuster has rounded edges and a brighter chrome. That's why that faces outside. Then we go with the handle. The handle screw. Now this uses a bigger nut, scallop nut. This one, the nut on this one is for the sizes like the Penn 6.0. I use an Allen-Taney wrench here. You want to align the scallop with the hole in the handle, and you also want to make sure when you're doing this that you have the drag washer tightened down, so, or the drag adjuster tightened down so that you lock that star adjuster in while you're tightening the handle. One more piece is this screw. Tighten that one all the way down. I'm going to take my glove off because I seem to be transferring a lot of that grease that I use for the drag washers onto the finished reel, so we'll take that off now. It keeps it off my hands, but it didn't keep it off the reel. And there you go. So let's give it a try now. This one turns free and easy. Now this has an adjuster here. This is a little tight. You want a little bit of side-to-side free play, so go ahead and take a moment, back this off just a little bit. Doesn't have to be backed off a lot. Put that in free spool. And you can use both sides to adjust it. The idea with the adjusters on both sides here is you can level out the spacing to the side plates. All right, that's better. Just playing around with it a little bit. Okay, good. All right, and then we can bring it this way. So that's quieted the reel down quite a bit. Well, that's it. That's your Penn Mag Mag Power 970. It's a beautiful reel. If you ever have the opportunity to find one and it suits your fishing environments, I would recommend you go get one, because they're just nice reels to have, nice reels to own, and even better, the nice reels to take fishing. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. To our first responders and essential personnel, a very simple thank you. To everyone, enjoy the art of reel repair. If you like these types of videos, please subscribe. Please like the video if you've been watching it and you've enjoyed it. And have a great day. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle.